Our conditions bullish in this bull market, seeing futures slightly higher this morning. S&P 500 futures were running up into that supply block right here, running into this resistance area, which could give us a little bit of pause. But if we can break through that area, that'll be significantly bullish, create a new support location. So we'll keep an eye here today and see if we can push through that level. Here you can see that on SPX. We've also got a little bit of a compression here on the 1 hour time frame as it's starting to fan out again. The risk is we are at the top end of this range as on S&P 500, but if we break out of that, that could continue to have some demand, at least in the shorter term, for continued push higher. We're seeing breadth improving here at 56. Again, that is, slightly more than half of the stocks in the S&P 500 are above their 50-day moving average. So shifting a little bit more to the bullish side as well. And also you can see when you have that expansion of trend, it's now working back towards compression of trend and working this direction. That is our current bias as of now. VIX, we're seeing, pulling back. We saw some volatility on that sell-off, and now we've just retraced back into a little bit calmer volatility, which is bullish for stocks as well. Short end of the yield curve, SHY, we're seeing this compression of trend and moving back to majority bullish on bond prices on the short end of that yield curve. That's a positive thing for equities, and because as bond prices are moving higher, we're getting yields which are moving lower. This is the two-year yield, and we're seeing that compression of trend starting to push back down a little bit, and 60-minute time frame already in this downtrend, getting a little bit of a pushback up here and some pausing towards the low end of that trend. We'll see if we get some follow through on that. We're also seeing the 10-year time, or the 10-year bond, excuse me, to also having this retracement and seeing some bullishness here in the, or potential bullishness off of this bounce at 236, but working its way back down, as well as we're seeing TLT work its way back up. Jumping into the Dow Jones Industrial Average, majority bullish right here at 14 and 14 on the daily and the 1 hour time frame, as well as triple Qs. We've got a nice compression of trend on the 60-minute time frame for triple Qs, and we'll see if we get an expansion back up into some bullishness with tech. It's a nice bullish pattern right here where we're seeing this pullback into retracement into that corrective 382, a gap lower, and then starting to push back towards that. Some immediate buying starting to happen here. So we'll see if we can break out of this on NASDAQ. Same story. We're just at the upper end of this trend, and we could push a little bit higher and just continue to kind of slog along here as we've done most of this last 6 to 8 months. We're seeing the Russell 2000 also having some nice bullishness here. You can see the upper end of those averages are compressing. We're getting some compressing here and starting to turn back bullish again on the continuation of that trend for Russell 2000. USO, which is the ETF for oil, seeing some weakness here, that 1 hour time frame continuing to retrace to the downside. We're seeing 11 and 3, so a decent pullback after a pretty nice rally, but it's giving 40% of that back now with this retracement. We'll see if we get any support on USO. Gold, also keep an eye on gold and silver. Gold getting a breakout here, or very close to it, continuing this move to the upside, and some real potential legs for gold. Let's jump out and look at gold on a weekly time frame and kind of look at where that trend is at here. You can see that compression of trend back here a couple of years ago, and so we've really had a nice overall trend higher in gold, and so could see a little bit of a push higher. We're getting a little bit extended on that weekly time frame, but with a breakout that could see things pushed up just a little bit higher as well. And then also silver, we're getting a nice move in silver, and we had that compression of trend. Let me just push this back here like that, and we're seeing on the daily time frame this compression here, the upper end of that trend compression. The lower end of the compression, when I'm saying that here, is just these lower lines. You can see that this is ultimately the longer term trend, and when we get these retracements back into the longer term trend, that gives us a little bit more of a bias to be able to trust that as a pullback and a demand zone where demand could be coming in and start to push trend back higher again. We're seeing that in SLV. Keep an eye there. A couple stocks to consider today out of the screens. Again, if you don't have the screen filters, you can go into the Discord server, which there's a link in the description of the video, and get that set up as well. But GDYN, nice confirmation bar, increasing volume back into momentum. Looks like it's going to gap here a little bit this morning. Interesting price pattern. Nice looking setup for GDYN, and the other one I wanted to take a look at was CLS. CLS had some real volatility here recently, selling off significantly, rallying back up again, and that's an interesting price pattern for a massive sell-off and then demand coming right back in to that trade. We're seeing compression of trend on the 60-minute time frame, potential opportunity there in CLS. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.